Capri, Italy, and it's coming out May 1st, like I mentioned, right before summer vacation, and all of your plans are going to change once you see this movie. It is gorgeous. I'm headed for Capri, Paul.
You gotta do it, you gotta do it.
Speaking of that, you chose this location. This was your, you had two screenwriters on this. They wrote the thing, but you said, no, we want to shoot in Capri.
Yeah, well, I'd had this idea of shooting in Capri for a while. My wife and I have been going there every year for 30 years. It's our favorite place in the world. And the editor of the fashion editor of French Vogue, Giovanna Battaglia, got married there to this ultra-rich guy like a number of years ago. And the pictures I saw of that, I was just like, I want to recreate that wedding somehow. So it was always in my head. And then we were talking about doing a sequel to Simple Favor because I love those characters so much. But I was like, well, I gotta send Stephanie somewhere completely out of her world. And I was like, oh, let's do that. So we kind of combined everything, and this is what came out of it.
It's so great, and it looks like so much fun. How long were you there?
Well, the irony is we actually only shot in Capri for a week and a half.
Oh, my
because
God.
we were supposed to be there longer, and then the Italian government just said, oh, we're going to bring the G7 there. So basically, and when they say that, nobody has any recourse. So they just shut you down. So we shot so concentratedly in Capri for a week and a half, and then shot all the interiors and things like that in Rome for the rest of the time.
Oh, well, that's fun, too.
I know, it was a tough job. Someone's got to do it, right?
Exactly. So I mentioned sequel. The first one came out. It was a hit in theaters, no question about it. Wonderful Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively, terrific chemistry, intriguing murder mystery. You know, by the end of it, Emily's gone off. The Blake Lively character gone off to prison. We think it's the end of it. And Stephanie, the character Anna Kendrick plays, becomes kind of famous off of all this with podcast books and things like that. So where was the idea that a sequel was in order here with these two?
I just love these characters, and their relationship to me was so much fun that, you know, I don't do sequels. I've always said I don't want to.
You do not do sequels, even to one of the biggest, maybe the biggest comedy of all time, Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
For years, you've been hounded with this question.
Yes.
You know, why not a sequel?
Well, sequels are hard. I mean, you know, the reason we like a movie is because we're discovering characters for the first time. Your lead character has some flaw or thing they're trying to overcome, and through the course of the movie, they solve that problem and become hopefully a better person or more advanced. So a sequel, you can't then go like, oh, you love this character, well, now they're on the rocks again, so you're gonna, because then I think the audience kind of goes, all right, we watch you repair yourself once, like pull it together. So you kind of have to figure out what is a way to, you know, if there's a way to drive a story forward where the characters are in a new situation and their growth is going to build upon what they had in the first one, then you can do it. And so this one just felt like, oh, there is a way into this. You know, and everybody was like, how are you going to get her out of prison? I'm like, come on, Marvel brings people back from the dead. We can get somebody out of prison, right?
Yeah, she gets out on an appeal and they just let her out of prison.
Well, she has a rich fiance who
Right.
has a high-powered team of lawyers
Yeah.
who find a little problem in her private.
And so she comes back into Stephanie's life by saying, shockingly, I want you to be the maid of honor at my wedding
Right.
in Italy.
Right, which is nothing but worrisome for Stephanie, who is like, are you going to kill me? What's going on? But Stephanie is such a natural detective. She's like, I have to know why she wants me there.
So in the course of this, I understand you had several scripts, drafts, ideas, finished, approved
Yeah.
by the studio,
Greenlit.
draft, even to the point of a finished cut approved, and you...
No, it wasn't. It was a script that was greenlit.
It was a script.
Yeah.
So, and you said no?
Yeah, what happened was we had this really fun draft that when I read it, I was like, this is so great, and it was right before the pandemic. And no, I'm sorry, it's not that. We sold this during the pandemic. It was right before the writer's strike. And so when that happened, it just gave us time to kind of sit with it. And as much as I loved it, reading the comments of fans of the movie and how excited they were about the movie and kind of speculating what it would be, I kind of realized what we had wasn't really what I think they wanted.
Oh,
it was more of a caper. really fun, but just it wasn't quite. Didn't have the style. It didn't have the ability to have the amount of style and fashion and twists that I wanted, and I think everybody else wanted. So we kind of scuttled we kind of kept Act 1 the same, but really changed Acts 2 and 3. And I'm really happy we did, because we just found some really fun stuff.
Yeah, it takes a lot to make this sausage here, make it work, right?
Well, the thing is, that's again with a sequel why it's scary, because there's a tendency people just want the sequel.
Yeah.
And so it's very easy to go, okay, cool, we got it, let's go in. So you got to be extra hard on yourself and go, is this going to be fulfilling for the audience that liked the first one? Because we've done a lot, the reason why I've avoided a lot of sequels in the past, we've done research into why people go to sequels, and the thing is, if you notice, a lot of sequels don't do as well as they used to, like 20 years ago. Because it was just an automatic, I love that movie, I'm gonna go see this. Audiences, I think, got burned by a lot of sequels, and so the big question for an audience is always why? Why do I need to see this? And so you really gotta be able to answer that question.
Why did you decide on streaming as a streaming release? This is, again, May 1st, and on Amazon Prime Video, as opposed to going theatrical. It is somewhat unusual to take a hit movie and then do the sequel here in streaming rather than in theaters.
Well, as the streamers that came to us wanting to do it. So
they had the money out there.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's a movie that was made for the big screen, and it is a big screen experience. If you ever, we're going to have a lot of word of mouth screenings and that kind of thing. If you got a chance to see that way, but if you watch it at home, just watch it on the biggest screen you can.
Yeah,
it's made. It is a big screen movie that you get to watch on streaming.
And you got two big stars here, of course, back together, and they have great chemistry, and they're both great. Blake Lively, who's been in the headlines lately too, so adding a little bit of publicity there.
There you go.
But she's fantastic in this.
She's, when you see this performance, Blake turns.
She is so fun, and first of all, the fashions that she has, these giant hats and different things. Even when she comes out, she has a kind of a take on a prison outfit that's all style. It'll send people like, how do I get that outfit?
Yeah, no, it was really fun. I mean, my amazing costume designer, Renee Kalfis, is back, and who deserves every award possible. And, she and Blake and I really just collaborated on what are these looks. And Blake has amazing ideas in that way. And she's like, what about this? And we're like, that's weird. And they're like, or that's brilliant. And then we go in with the designers and all that and come up with, and actually make it happen. And it's just really, really fun.
When I look over your credits, I see you are a great director of women. You brought women in, yes, applaud. And you, sir, too. Thank you for applauding. But you really are the new age George Cukor. That's a rubber.
I'll take that.
One person understood what
Thank
I
you
was
so much.
saying. Thank you. Great
I'll see you back at the retirement home.
the great director of the Golden Era. No. Anyway, he did the greatest roles for women here too. And right up until the release you have coming out in theaters, The Handmaid, on Christmas Day is another vehicle for women. Amanda Seyfried,
Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried.
And so and even your Ghostbusters film was all female.
No controversy there.
And of course, and of course, this one. What is your secret in wanting to create these great roles for women here?
I love women's characters and women's stories, and I feel women have been so underserved on the big screen for so long.
You sort of proved that rolling the dice with Bridesmaids, because
yeah. I mean, that was for some reason considered to be a giant swing and risk, and it ended up doing really well. So, I love three-dimensional portraits of women, and I relate more to those stories. I think it's just, I've seen plenty of stories about guys, and I enjoy those movies too. But I'd rather kind of watch these movies about three-dimensional women.
Interestingly, to me, is I always thought of Simple Favors, a theatrical movie, and everything. And this one I got to see, thanks to you, on a theater screen, which is just like that. It's a throwback to the kinds of movies Hollywood studios used to love to make.
Yeah.
The mystery comedy, charade, all of those kinds of things in glamorous locations that they don't do anymore,
No, it's true. I mean, I wanted this to feel like an old Hitchcock movie. I mean, the first one I always called suburban noir. And I do the same with this, in that I like thrillers or tense stories that take place kind of in broad daylight, because I feel like it's easier to make things scary if like it's dark and you can't see in the shadows. But like if it's just a nice day out and horrible, weird things are happening, I think that's really kind of scarier to me and more suspenseful.
Can you talk about the rest of your cast here? Because you have a little